When I was a graduate student, after my master's, I spent a summer in Tanzania surveying wheelchair technology, talking to wheelchair users and manufacturers and disability groups. And during that time, it stood out to me that there was a big gap in the wheelchair market. You had normal wheelchairs that worked fine indoors, but were really tough to take off-road any long distance. And then you had what are called hand-powered tricycles, which you pedal like a bike but with your hands, and they work pretty well on smooth terrain for long distances, but when you go off-road, they're difficult to manage and they're much too big to use indoors. So I saw firsthand that there was a real need for a single product that could both go fast and efficiently on rough terrain, but still be small enough to use indoors. And so that's what kicked off the Leverage Freedom Chair project, which is now our off-road, all-terrain, mountain bike type wheelchair for your arms, but that can be also used indoors like a regular wheelchair. And that's now being made in India as a commercial product. And so how that relates to my research group, the Global Engineering and Research Lab, I learned through the LFC project that to create this off-road all-terrain wheelchair, it really took understanding the engineering theory, the biomechanics, the machine design to make this machine perform the way we wanted it to, but also blend into that the important socioeconomic factors to really understand what people wanted for functionality and price point and repairability. And so that convergence of technical and socioeconomic is the backbone of my research group. That's what we do. And we do machine design and product design around that theme. I'd say the biggest challenge of design for developing in emerging markets is really understanding your constraints and your requirements that you have to meet when you create this new design. And so simplicity, cost, local repairability, those are often really important factors, but not always. You know, you take a product like a Ferrari. Ferraris are selling quite well in China right now, right? And so there's a market for that product, and they don't have to dial down the price or the complication or complexity, it fits. But if you're talking about something like a prosthetic limb that has to operate 3 years in the field, yeah, price is really important, durability is important, repairability, manufacturability, those are important. So what we have to do is really understand the context around where this design is going to perform and really understand that full range of constraints and requirements that we have to meet in order to be successful. It's hard to design for a culture that you are not part of, right? And I think, you know, as an engineer, I think I'm good at being creative and solving problems, but really understanding what it's like to live every day in the life of a person who's missing a limb in the developing world, I never have that context. So it's so important to engage that person and understand the factors of their life that are going to be influenced by this new technology. So for example, one issue that we were able to catch really early in our prosthetic knee project that we're doing is that people want to sit cross-legged. People want to sit Indian style in India, right? And that's a functionality that does not contribute directly to being able to walk efficiently with your prosthetic leg, but it does contribute a lot to how you interact with your family and how you sit around for dinner, right? And so that leg needs to be able to twist so you can sit down on the floor. And by catching that requirement early in the design process, we can incorporate it in, and so I think we can mitigate that failure that we may have had 5 years down the road when we've made this perfect technology and then bring it to the field. Instead what we try to do is interact with stakeholders early and test prototypes in the field early and often.